What up, everyone? We're back. So I tallied up all of the votes and whatever, and it came out to a tie between the Chimeras and the Sky Dancers. And then as I was preparing to do a video, another vote came in on the Chimeras. So Chimeras won by 1 vote. We're going to do a monster discussion on the Chimeras. So we're not doing another girl monster Nat 5. But it is interesting that we are doing another natural 5-star. I'll have another comment down below with 3 monsters. I'll do 2 Nat 5 and then a Nat 4 on which ones you guys want me to review or do a monster discussion on. So, Chimeras are definitely interesting monsters. When I first looked at them, when I first started the game, I was like, nah, I really don't want one. And then after I got 2 of them, the water and the wind one, I started having some pretty good opinions on them, and I'm really happy with what they do. So let's go through and talk about that Chimeras. It's a little bit bigger range on which ones are good and which ones are bad. You know, they're not as close as the Hell Ladies or the Occult Girls are. So one of them, or 2 of them are really, really useful, and then a few of the other ones are not so useful. So let's get into it. The Recon is the first one, HP monster, 11.7k. For the base HP, that is way up there. That's higher than Kraka. Remember when we talked about Kraka as a support monster? Higher than her, so very, very high base HP. The attack is not very high. It's 725, which is okay. It's an HP-based monster. Defense is alright. And then that speed, this is what I was talking about, guys, on the speed. Very low speed for a natural 5-star. 95 is kind of hard to work with. When you build these kinds of things, most people build them either Rage Blade or Violent, and it's like, you know, you're not going to be having much to work with. It's 5 to 10 speed lower than a lot of the other monsters out there. So the first skill is the same for all of them, obviously. Pins down the enemy and inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn. This is just good to have overall for dungeons and stuff like that, or even in like arena when you want to add a little bit extra damage. As far as you guys know, continuous damage does 5% of the max HP of the monster. So yeah, does help do extra damage. Now the multipliers on all of these, 345% for the first skill, 1 hit. So yeah, not bad at all. You can do some pretty good damage. The second skill gains increased attack power and immunity against harmful effects for 3 turns, instantly recovers a turn when used. So this is a 3-turn buff for attack power and immunity, and it does get decreased for cooldown when you upgrade it 2 times, so it goes down to 3-turn cooldown. So you're always going to have immunity and attack power up. That kind of buff is like, wow, that is really good. So what's it doing on an HP-based monster? Attacks the enemy by dismantling the ground. This attack will deal more damage according to your max HP. So notice how it's not equivalent. It's not like exactly equal to the HP or any type of that. It's a proportionality. So these types of max HP skills, they're actually still based on attack power. So when you get more HP, yeah, you do more damage. But if you have really low attack power, you're not going to be doing much damage. Let's say you have a combination of the two, you know, like 35,000 max HP, or maybe you do attack, crit damage, HP or something like that. So 25,000 max HP and then some attack. So like, let's say 1,800 attack, maybe more. Then yeah. So you're going to be doing a lot more damage that way, in my opinion, if you do it that kind of way, because it's still in proportionality to the max HP and the attack power. It's a combination of the two. So my thoughts, it's a bruiser. It's if you guys don't know what a bruiser is, it's basically a monster that does very heavy, well, not heavy damage, but single target damage, decent amount of single target damage, but they're very tanky. So like Copper, it would be considered a bruiser in my opinion. Arnold is a bruiser. Copper is arguable about that, but definitely Arnold is a bruiser, and Recon is another bruiser. It's that kind of, there was a meta over this, and it's I'm not a big fan of these types of monsters, but we'll compare it to the other ones as we get further down the line. But single target, first and third skill, and it does self buff, which is always nice. So it's a good one, yeah. And then of course the leader skill increases HP of ally monsters with fire attribute by 50%. That is all of the Chimeras have very large leader skills, and they're all attribute based. So we'll go into that too. And then resistance by 25% is just crap awakening skill. So kind of a waste. Alright, now the next one is Taor. Some people say Taor, or I don't know. It's weird. I say Taor, but yeah. Same thing with Tower. It's lower base HP though, but 911 attack. That's pretty high, actually. Over 900 attack is always useful for the Chimeras. Same multiplier for the first skill, you know, yeah. And then the base speed is way down there again at 95 speed, which sucks, but it's still good. Now, this is the most sought-after skill on the Chimeras I've ever seen. Faster the attack speed, the greater the damage becomes. Attack speed is increased for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. And it's reusable every 2 turns. Alright? It's reusable every 2 turns since you do get a cooldown. So you do this every other turn. So you can do second skill, third skill, second skill, first skill, second skill, third skill, second skill. Like just back and forth, back and forth. Keep going through the second one. Now if it's on auto, sometimes it doesn't use the second skill because it's just dumb. But it still works. Very, very nice. And honestly, I love him. I have Tower. If you guys see it right here. Very, very awesome. And I'm so happy with him. Mine's not the most best quality runes, I should say, but still very good. Mine hits, I think, over 60,000 on his Squall, fully buffed, and it's very, very hard hitting. Now this third skill attacks the enemy and freezes the target for 1 turn, and then the attack will attack all other enemies, dealing half the damage of the initial attack, and it decreases their attack speed for 3 turns. So I think they did they change it? Huh, that's so weird. I think they changed the description. I'm not sure because I don't remember it saying half the damage. I just knew it was less damage. I think they changed the description, or maybe I just don't pay attention, but the damage multiplier on this one is 400%. Now, the damage multipliers for the other Chimeras, other than this third skill on the Tower, they're not yet finished, and the Squall is actually kind of hard to do for the damage multiplier because it is based on attack speed. Same with the Chimera, or same with the Fire Chimera. It is based on the max HP as well, and those ones are harder to calculate. When they're both based on max HP and on attack power, or on the attack power and on the speed, those are harder to work around with. So yeah, I don't have the damage multipliers up for that, but still, very, very, very great skill. This Squall is amazing. This one slows down all the enemies and freezes the target. When you use stuff like this in Dragon's B10 or in TOA, stuff like that, you guys see me use it. Very, very helpful. And of course, the leader skill, HP of ally monsters with water attribute, 50%. Always helpful to do stuff like that. If you use like Orion or maybe Tyrone or stuff like that, yeah, it helps if you have no other leader skills. And 50% is just ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous. But overall, this Chimera by far has the best damage. My phone's about to die. Jesus. Alright. Next one. Wind. This is one of the more underrated Chimeras. Lagmarone. Also, the Chimera, this the first Chimera that I summoned, actually. Yep. Currently unruined, but I will get some runes on him. I just need to farm some. So, 11.5. Wow. Almost the same base HP as Recon, the fire one, right? Just 200 less HP. Attack power is 800, so it's on the lower side. It's just over 800, which is alright. Its defense is pretty low, but it does get the 15 attack speed awakening boost, so 110 base speed is incredible. You could get this bad boy way up there. If you really wanted to, you could, like with good runes, you could get him 230, 240 speed, hitting really hard, speed crit damage attacks, swift blade, that kind of thing. Very useful. You need good runes for him, and of course he's got the same kind of skill set build as Tower, but this third skill is different. It attacks all enemies and weakens their attack power for 2 turns, may stun the enemy for 1 turn with a 50% chance. Now I don't think they've done extensive plays on Lagmarone to have the damage multiplier since it's not listed yet, but it's not that great. The damage is not that high up there. I've seen it. The stun is only 50% and the weakening attack power is always helpful, but it's a 5-turn cooldown, so it's really not anything to be reliable since it's such a high cooldown for such low damage, in my opinion. So it's alright. It's kind of hard to work with. And he's actually pretty underrated, honestly. He helps against Theomars since you decrease the attack power and you actually have a chance to stun him, and you can one-shot him with this skill. Let's say you don't one-shot him, or Chasun gets his HP back up, you'll have this up every other turn, so you'll be able to take him out. And it's actually really nice to have it ready. So you could use this skill, one-shot him, or you could pop this down, then do this one afterwards, and be able to one-shot him pretty much, and I think that is just absolutely amazing. So, honestly, Lagmarone, pretty underrated, but also not that great. He's alright. He's up there, but not really the best. Of course, the light one, it's kind of hard to like really go super in depth with these skills because there's really no math behind them. It's just straight up damage. But the squalls are so good. The Squall Chimeras are the best rated ones, honestly. They're just so far up there in ratings. Not compared to every single Nat 5, but in terms of the Chimeras, yeah. Now, this is where Sean comes into play because a lot of people I think are pretty confused about Sean. 10.8 for the base HP. Low attack power, actually that's really low. That's down there with Recon. And he's a support base monster too. Interesting. Base speed, way down there. Increases resistance by 25%. That's Kapui. Very crap. I hate the resistance awakening. Only on Rena and stuff like that. But same thing for the first skill. Squall on second skill, which is always nice. This third skill though, stuns up to 3 enemies, including the designated target, and heals yourself. If there are not enough enemies to stun, the excessive stuns will instead heal allies with low health. The healing amount is based on your max HP. So it's kind of like they're asking players to build this as support. I think I know someone that actually does build a support Sean, and it's like the attack power is lower than Lagmarone, the base HP is pretty high up there, and then the speed is lower than Lagmarone. I'd actually say Lagmarone's more built for damage than Sean is. It's kind of sad, honestly. It's disappointing the fact that he's got a support role with such a great second skill. So I would probably end up building a support Sean, honestly. There's really not much you can work with for Sean. The damage is pretty lackluster since his base attack is so low and his speed is so low that he's hard to build, but he does have an incredible HP leader skill for stuff like Bella and Darien, so you could probably use him in Guild Wars with the solo, or I should say mono light team if you want to troll around a bit. But that's about it, honestly. It's kind of hard to work with since he's got such an incredible damage skill on second, and he's a support-based monster, and his stats show it, and his third skill shows it. So, kind of a disappointment, really, and the fact that he's light and dark should not hide the fact that his skills just don't make sense. It's another monster that has a skill set that does not make sense together. Support-based third skill with a very incredible high damage single target second skill, and the stats, the base stats are all whack. He should have higher attack power, higher speed, and his base HP should not be, I mean, base HP is okay, but it should be lower to compensate for higher attack and for higher speed. So, yeah, that's something I would like to see come to US fix, seriously. Now, here is one of the hardest monsters to rune in the game, and it's actually one of the most highly rated monsters in the game as well. And I think people people need to realize something, okay? I love Zeratu, and he's very good. He's very overpowered, but they're thinking about it in the wrong sense. They keep looking at his passive as one of the main reasons why he's good, which is definitely it, but they're not looking at it in the right way. I think his self-buffing skill is what makes him incredible. If he didn't have this self-buffing skill with this third skill, he would not be as highly rated. He wouldn't. He'd be like Manananan, and Manananan is great. Of course, I'll trash on the Poseidons some other time, but he's a lot higher rated than he should be. And Zeratu is way, way, way higher up there just because of the fact that he has self-buffing immunity and attack power. So what exactly does he do? Low base speed, low attack, same base HP as Sean. Why is he better than Sean? Alright, well, first off, same first skill. I think his is his only attacking skill. Second skill, the self-buffing attack power and immunity. It's always staying on because it's 3-turn buff, right? And it's reusable every 3 turns, so he's just constantly buffing himself, which is awesome. Third skill, it's a passive. Inflicts up to 2 extra attacks with 50% of the damage if you get a critical hit. So, let's say you set your Zeratu up to be 100% critical rate, right? And you manage to do, you get 100% critical rate. You're going to be doing, it's like double damage on the first skill, because you do first hit and then you do 2 hits with 50% damage. If you can just add up the damage, right? It's 200% of the damage that you would do on this first skill. And I've seen my Chimera hit over 20k on the first skill, fully buffed. You self-buff, all you need is defense break, and you put on continuous damage. 3 continuous damage effects, if you land them, Wow, that's a lot of damage. So not only do you do 200% of the damage on the first skill as you would any of the other chimeras, you also put on 3 continuous damage effects, which is 15% of the max HP of the monster you're targeting. Wow. And he's also dark attribute, which means he has no neutral, or he has no attribute disadvantage. He's neutral advantage to everyone but the light ones. Very, very nice. The problem is I would say he's a little bit tougher to work with when you come up against Belladon teams. Belladon will target him and remove his self buff. If he does get targeted, his base HP is up there, but he won't survive as long if he does not have that self buffing skill. 50% dark HP leader skill. That one is, I'd say, the least useful leader skill out of all 5 of them, because not a lot of people set up mono dark teams. It's just there's not a lot of mono dark teams, and a lot of the farmable dark monsters are not that great. So yeah, the leader skill is kind of wasted in that sense. But increases what's up with the resistance increase? I think the water and the wind are the only ones that have good awakening effect, or boosts with their skills. It's kind of like disappointing, but still, Zeratu, very, very hard to ruin. You have to get at least his HP a little bit up there. You need to have speed, you need to have critical rate, critical damage, attack power, and I would say you should have a little bit of accuracy. Don't even focus on the accuracy, but having a little bit helps to land these continuous damage effects, because they do help. Continuous damage does help when you're coming up against certain monsters that you just want to take out, like tanky monsters. I find it to be very, very nice to have, and the first skill in the Zeratu just helps do the extra damage. It's really nice. So obviously this is just kind of a gimme. The dark one is probably, yeah, definitely the best chimera. You know, it's so useful in all these places. Self immunity buff and self attack power buff. Very, very, very nice. It's incredible. Now a close second is obviously going to be the water one. Water is just so good because the damage is way up there. So many ways to actually ruin him. 1%. Oh wow, we definitely need to hurry this up. Alright. The worst one, or I should say the least useful, I'm going to have to say the Fire Chimera. I'm sorry guys. Fire Chimera, a bruiser, not very useful. But it's a close tie with the light one, Shan, because what are you going to do with a support-based monster that has a really nice damage skill on second? Can't really do much with that third skill. He's a support monster with such a weird, whack third skill, and his second skill should be some support. It's whack, guys. So yeah, definitely dark one, and then fire is least useful, and light is really close behind. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to have 3 monsters listed down in the comment down below. Make sure you reply to it. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite chimera and why? I want to know why. Leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Stay awesome, guys. Post sexually exploited monsters in the game. Seriously, it is uncanny. It's like COMTUS just decided one day, how are we going to get all of the male audience into this game? Oh, I know. We're just going to be putting big, giant, big booties and boobies on the game. Now, I feel like a lot of games do that. So, no hate in that respect. They do have some nice boobs. Let's just get into this review. So, the first skill that